Welcome back to Felicity Was Here. I'm Heather.
I'm Melissa.
And I'm Dr. Joe.
And today we're discussing Felicity Season 1, Episode 21, The Force. Hello, fellow high priestesses of the coven. It's our witchy episode.
Oh, God.
Very exciting.
Oh, my goodness. Heather, do you remember when we used to play witches in like 5th grade on the playground?
Absolutely.
Oh,
We were totally little Megans.
Oh, yeah. I was going to bring that up a little bit later.
Oh, okay.
No, it's fine. I think it was because of the craft. Was it the craft? Or was
Yeah.
it because of Now and Then? I think it was because of Now and Then.
I think it was both. Yeah, but like definitely now and then.
when was Practical Magic out?
Mhm.
That was probably later. I feel like,
there
there was a whole era. Yeah.
I loved it. I loved it all.
And Now and Then, a great connection to Felicity because Janine Garofalo is the witchy one doing like the tarot cards and stuff. And she's
yeah.
Sally. So it's full circle.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Such a good movie. But I do love this episode, and it's also one of our listeners' favorite episodes. So The Force made it into our final 4 when we did our March Madness on Instagram. So if you're new to the pod, make sure you're following us on Instagram. We do little polls, and we had a March Madness competition where everyone got to vote on their favorite Season 1 episode, and The Force, made it to Final 4. So we're excited to dig in with all of y'all on this episode. But first, wanted to do a quick Porterhead shout out to another Instagram follower of ours, Tanisha. She left us this very sweet comment this week. She says, "Love listening to the podcast. I messaged you guys a bit ago to let you guys know you guys are so appreciated for this podcast. I never knew how much I needed this." So thank you, Tanisha. And we never knew how much we needed that comment. It was so lovely.
That's nice.
Wow. Thank you so much.
So let's go ahead and dive in right away. We've got a lot to cover. This is an action-packed, drama-filled episode. So very quickly, last week, Felicity and Noel became friends who kiss, even though Noel got into a summer internship in Berlin, and Elena asked Professor McGrath out to dinner, which he eventually accepted. Meanwhile, Ben got beat up by his bookie for not paying his gambling debts. But of course, this week, Ben, Julie, Felicity, and Noel decide to take a road trip together over the summer, but Meghan practices some spells that upend each of their lives. So we open with Felicity sleeping in her room, but Meghan is, of course, chanting. She's lighting matches. There's candles lit everywhere. She's ringing bells. And this, of course, wakes Felicity up. But she walks over to Felicity and plucks out one of her hairs, which she calls her secret ingredient for this spell. Felicity's annoyed, but Meghan doesn't really care. She says, "Oh, I love the smell of burning hair, don't you?" And Felicity explains that she has 4 finals this week. She needs to sleep. She's got to study. And Meghan says that that's why she's doing her spells, because of finals week. However, she has decided to put a clumsy spell on Felicity. And as Felicity goes to the bathroom to get away from Meghan and all of the insanity, she trips and falls. And just wanted to throw it out there that it's finals week. Finals weeks are always crazy on this show. Everyone's stressed out, and then other stuff goes down that just heightens everyone's stress and anxiety. So we're in for quite the ride.
Excellent. Yes. I'm ready for the juice. All the juicy stuff. Juicy drama.
Whoa.
And so, as we already touched on a little bit, but to me, the 90s were all about witchcraft. And that's one of the reasons why I love this episode. The Craft came out in 1996, and I was definitely getting those vibes with Meghan in this. She's like an all black this episode, like heavy black lipstick, black nail polish, all of that. And I think, Dr. Joe, you mentioned that Charmed premiered in 1998, so we had a lot of witchy things going on in the 90s.
Yeah. And Practical Magic was also 98. So
Okay.
that was the vibe.
Yeah, that has a big cult following, that movie.
I love the house in that movie. That's my inspiration for all my home decor is the house from Practical Magic. It's so pretty.
Aw.
It really is. And in this episode, we do get tarot cards that set the scene throughout the episode. And I love the creativity here, just like finally with the countdown, documentary with the different film style. I love that JJ and Matt are not afraid to mix it up on the TV show. Are either of you into tarot?
Not me.
Yeah, I have a deck. By into, I mean I have one deck, and I've done one reading on myself. I don't know what I'm doing.
I was like, do you work that into your therapy sessions?
No, I was thinking about having a side hustle, though. I'm going to go from psychologist to psychic. Get it?
I love it. Yeah, I've had some like casual readings just with friends who have cards, they'll pull 3 cards, but I haven't paid for anything like that before. So I don't know much about it, but it's definitely, I find it interesting. And since moving to California, I feel like I have to be into more that like new agey, spiritual, but
Yeah.
not religious type of stuff.
Exactly.
So the next scene we get is set up with the tarot card, the World, and it says Voyage next to it. But I thought I would look into these cards a little bit more and their meanings because we only get the one word, and I just wanted to see what other meanings might be behind some of these cards. So with the World, when it is presented upright, it could mean completion, integration, accomplishment, or travel, which is where Voyage comes in. But the World card in the tarot deck symbolizes balance and evolution in movement. The fulfillment and unity that she represents is not one that is static, but ever-changing, dynamic, and eternal. So I think we do have a voyage coming up, obviously, in this episode, but I think also the balance part I thought was interesting because right now in the beginning of the episode, everything still feels very balanced, right? Everyone's friends. We've got 2 couples maybe that are still together. So I did think that there was some interesting nuance there but behind the other meaning.
And I think the movement part's funny because she was clumsy and falling all over the place and breaking things. So I thought that was a little clever thing too, if you go more literal.
So then we go into Felicity recording a tape to Sally, and I just wanted to say that I love her outfit in this scene. She's got like this cropped white top on and these printed flowy pants. It just seemed so different from what she has been wearing.
Totally different. I noticed it too. I'm like, this does not seem like her. Was it pants? I thought it was a skirt. Maybe I
Either I thought it was like flowy,
yeah,
like hippie pants,
like,
but it could have been a skirt.
It was very interesting and out of character, but I liked it.
But yeah, we're used to her in the oversized sweaters, baggy pants, and now she had something like a little bare midriff, and it was a cutoff and maybe something a little more showing off her figure. But she tells Sally that she's into math and science because most of the time she's a pretty rational person. And I cackled out loud when she said that.
Yeah, it's like really.
Rational is not how I would describe Felicity.
Yeah, wasn't it like one episode ago you were coming up with this crazy topic for your research paper for McGrath that was not rational at all?
I mean, she tried. We were trying to make some balance out of that too. Like it's, a blending of the head and the heart, but not, I wouldn't just say a flat out rational for her. No.
Yeah, I wouldn't say she's pretty rational. I'd say she's pretty irrational, actually. But she says she's never believed in magic, but the last few days, ... She says it all started with Ben. He ended up calling his mom and telling her about his problems, but didn't tell her about the gambling necessarily, just that he's struggling with his tuition. So his mom is going to send him some money, but since she doesn't know about the gambling, the money's going to be paying off Barry, and he's not going to be using it on his plane ticket home. So he still does need a little bit more money for the summer. So they're at Dean and DeLuca, and the new assistant manager, Danny Booger, tells Felicity and Ben that they have to do inventory on Friday night, just the 2 of them. And Felicity says, oh, okay, whatever. And as she's leaving, she knocks over some mugs. So now she's clumsy again. She said she doesn't believe in magic, but she does believe in fate. And she sees a sign on a board looking for someone to do a drive away to San Francisco. And I think back in middle school when this came out, I didn't know what a drive away was. I've never heard of such a thing, but
I'm not familiar with that term.
No.
Yeah, but for anyone who doesn't know, apparently you can pay someone to drive your car from one place to the next. And so that's what someone needs. They need their car taken from New York to San Francisco. And if y'all don't know where Palo Alto is, it is just outside of San Francisco. So Ben calls the person looking for the drive away. He calls them from Epstein, and everything sounds perfect. It's going to work out great. Nicole and Lynn come up to him as he's chatting on the phone. And then Ben tells them that he's going to make $500 for this drive away. So Lynn and Nicole are excited for him, but Lynn has to go to the library, so he leaves, but Nicole hangs around. She tells Ben she's going to miss him over the summer. Ben kind of brushes it off, though, says, yeah, I'll miss you guys, too. Not seeing you all the time's going to be weird. And then Ben asks if her and Lynn are doing anything over the summer. She says no. She says she's had feelings for someone else lately, even though we haven't really seen her in a while, in quite a few episodes, I feel like. But now she's got feelings for quote-unquote someone. And Ben says, oh, well, that's too bad because Lynn's a good friend of his. But Nicole asks Ben how he feels about her. Ben just kind of laughs it off and says, I like you, but you have a boyfriend and I have a girlfriend. She says, yeah, so it's kind of perfect. And she leans in and kisses him.
That was bold.
Yeah, and he again just kind of like awkwardly laughs.
Oh my God, I can't stand Nicole.
No boundaries.
Ugh, I hate her and her 20s flapper haircut that she has. Oh, terrible. Hideous. Every time she's on screen, I cringe.
It's the Pulp Fiction, but blonde.
Yes.
So yeah, I wish Ben had said something different to her, not just like, oh yeah, I like you, but you have a boyfriend and I have a girlfriend. Like, I wish he would have said like, no, we're just friends, or I only see you as friends. Because to me, it was like, oh, well, the only barrier here is that we are both with other people. So I wish he had said something different and didn't just kind of laugh it off. But she, was very, very bold.
I think he was uncomfortable. It was that uncomfortable laughter.
Yeah.
Because women do that all the time. Like, I have a boyfriend, instead of being like, no, I'm not interested. Get the fuck away from me. Like, you got to read the situation.
He was probably trying to be nice because it's like one of his best friend's girlfriends. So he's probably not going to be like rude and be like, get away from me. But yeah, she's too much.
Yeah, that was awkward.
But Felicity says, she tells Sally she actually had no idea that this stuff was going on, though. Just that when the car was all figured out, he did something sweet at the time. He invited Julie to drive to Palo Alto with him. So Julie was really happy about that. And then Julie invites Felicity because she said it would be more fun. And Felicity says, which I think is really sweet.
Okay, so I found this very interesting because this is coming from the same girl, Julie, who's like, I don't want to be a fifth wheel. When all those other times in the very, very beginning, when she's like, yeah, come study with us, come hang out with me in bed. And she's like, I don't want to be a fifth wheel or third wheel or whatever the hell you want to call it. Like, and oh no, but now she wants to invite Felicity and it's going to be so much fun. Girl, where is this coming from? I thought that was real rich coming from her.
That is. Because she has issues. She doesn't want to be the third wheel, but it's okay if someone else is.
Yeah, I'm like, how soon we forget.
Maybe, I don't know, maybe she just felt bad for Felicity because Felicity wasn't in a relationship. I don't know. Yeah, that is weird. I don't know what the motive is.
I mean, it makes sense. They're going to the same place. Like, she lives there too. Like, from that perspective, it's like, oh, we're going the same way anyway. Why don't you come with us?
Yeah, I guess.
So I could see that. But I just think it's funny that she was marketing this as very fun. It's going to be so fun when she was so anti-person hanging out with a couple before.
And so then, of course, Felicity asks Noel, even though she was sure he would say no. But we see Noel says yes. He says that the internship doesn't start until mid-June, so it's actually perfect timing. He's got a couple weeks. And then they kiss. So that's funny because they still, I don't think, have defined the relationship. They still don't know what they are, but now they're, going on a road trip and they're still kissing. So their relationship is still a little murky here. But then Guy knocks on the door, comes in, and tells Noel that he has bad news about their final project in web design. He says instead of, working on it at the library or whatever, they now have to do all their work waiting in line at the movie theater for tickets to see Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
Yes.
Guy is one of those crazy guys that camps outside the theater for tickets for the movie for like 48 hours, and he's in some Star Wars fan group. And so that's where Noel's going to have to meet up with Guy and do all their work.
It's so funny to think that like people used to do that, having to wait outside of a movie theater to get their tickets. Oh God.
Now we just didn't wait in virtual queues overnight for tickets to things. I am wearing a Star Wars shirt today in honor of the episode.
Nice. Very nice.
And then just to close out the scene, Felicity says, oh my God, that's so funny. You're one of those guys. And as she goes to sit on Noel's bed, she instead falls off Noel's bed. So she hella clumsy now. Then we move into our next tarot card, Strength. And the word they paired with that is action. So when I looked it up, when presented upright, strength could be strength, but also courage, persuasion, influence, and compassion. In this tarot card, you will see a woman who calmly holds the jaws of a fully grown lion. And despite the fact that the lion looks menacing and strong, the woman seems to have dominion over it. What is captivating is how gracefully she controls the lion. She's calm and collected, which is representative for being in control and disciplined, especially in times of great adversities. She also shows courage because her control of the lion, without being too rough, shows love and compassion. And the lion is also a symbol of courage, passion, and desire, which are very much part of human feelings that are necessary for survival. But if these feelings are not put in check, it can lead to our eventual destruction.
That sounds intense.
So Felicity's back in her room and she tells Meghan to stop doing spells. But Meghan says, hell no, she's going to keep going and needs Felicity's nail clippings to do another spell. Felicity, though, says that she's asked Elena to come on the trip, but Elena said no, that she's looking for a job in a hospital in the city. Do we believe that?
Ish.
Ish.
Because I could see her being ambitious and wanting to build her resume as, she moves on to medical school in the future. But also, that's a convenient place for her to be located.
Yeah, pretty sure she's just wanting to bone Dr. McGrath, and that's all it is.
It's a good cover, though.
It was a little sus to me that they positioned that statement right as Elena's going to talk to McGrath.
Yeah.
It's a reasonable excuse. It's not like she's saying some weird thing. It tracks with her.
Yeah. And if I were her, I would say no, just because I wouldn't want to sit like bitch on this road trip in between a couple in the back seat of this tiny car for like 2 weeks straight. Who would want to do that? Maybe if it was a minivan. But no.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I'm like, how would she even fit like reasonably? That would get so uncomfortable so fast.
Then all to go see like the world or the country's biggest ball of yarn or something in the middle of nowhere, Nebraska.
That just
like,
doesn't seem like Elena. Yeah, no.
After lecture, Elena sticks around, as we said, to talk to McGrath. Apparently they never set a date for dinner. He asks if she's free Thursday night. She is, and so they're going to meet at the bar at the Tribeca Hotel. And I'm thinking, gross. Like at a hotel, that's not even dinner.
So
that's
skeezy.
like a bar in a hotel, just is like hooker. Like that's all that is. It's so gross.
I feel like I just saw a movie with that. That's where they go meet up. That's the pickup spot or the meetup spot or hookup spot. Yeah, that sounds gross.
And it seems like seedy and almost like he's trying to hide her. And like, oh, then we could just go upstairs. It's gross. I hate it.
Exactly. It's like, that's not dinner. That's not classy. It's like, you can afford it. Come on.
Yeah.
You're a whole adult, so why don't you use your adult paycheck and take her out to a real dinner?
Seriously. You're like, what, 55?
Yeah, come on.
But Elena says yes. So then at Epstein, we've got the two couples who are looking over the map and planning their road trip route. They're all friendly and excited, picking out all the places they want to stop. But Felicity says that they had no idea how complicated things would get. Again, Felicity knocks over another glass, but Ben stoops down to clean it up. And as he's cleaning up, he kind of peers over and sees fucking Nicole at the bar giving him come F me eyes. And she's just like staring him down. And again, he looks very uncomfortable. He's not like excited about it. He looks uncomfortable.
The faces she was making when she was smiling at him were so intense and so big. I was like, oh my God, scale it back. Like, you can show interest in somebody without being so obvious and creepy. Like, if that was a guy looking at a girl that way, that would be so gross. I'd be like, ew, like, stop looking at me. I'd feel like I'd need to cover up. It's too much.
And she's doing it right in front of her boyfriend because he's probably
in front of everyone.
right?
Exactly.
Jeez. Fucking Nicole.
Yeah. Bold.
She's the worst. So then the next tarot card, the Tower, which they've paired with adversity. Looking it up, I also found that it could mean sudden change, upheaval, chaos, revelation, and awakening. So we see that there's a tower which a lightning bolt has struck, which sets it ablaze. And so everyone's jumping out of the windows in an act of desperation. They're trying to escape the turmoil and destruction within. And the tower is a symbol for the ambition that is constructed on faulty premises. The destruction of the tower must happen in order to clear out the old ways and welcome something new. Its revelations can come in a flash of truth or inspiration, which I thought was very poignant for this episode because there's a lot of old stuff being cleared out for the new. So Felicity walks back into her room where Meghan is looking for one of her hairs on her pillow. And Felicity yells at her to stop, of course. Meghan says, "You're afraid of my power, aren't you?" But Felicity says sarcastically, like, "Oh, yeah, I'm terrified, right?" But Meghan's like, no, you're clumsy, aren't you? It's happening. It's working. And Felicity says she's not clumsy, but as she puts on her jacket, she rips a big old hole in it. Meghan gasps. She's like, "Oh, my God, like, it is working." Now she's almost afraid of her own power. And Felicity says that that doesn't count as clumsy. But I think it was really nice. Meghan actually offers, she says, do you want me to teach you how to harness the force?
She was so excited to share that with her. She
Yeah.
seems so enthusiastic about it, like, I can teach you this thing. This will be amazing.
She's like, oh my God, it works. Do you want me to teach you? Felicity turns her down, unfortunately. But Meghan says, oh, that's fine. I'm too busy anyway. She's working on another spell, forgetfulness. And this is where things get even weirder. And Felicity forgets an answer in McGrath's lecture. Elena offers to chime in and answer, but McGrath, publicly scolds her in front of the whole class and says, you know what I would love if you give someone else a chance to answer a question. Which I was so uncomfortable.
That was rough.
Because he's about to go meet her at a hotel and then he just reams her out in front of the class. I hated that.
I would have puked on the spot if I was her. I would have died. I would have blushed so hard and puked and died. It would have been a disaster.
And even Felicity kind of gave Elena a look like, what the heck just happened? Like, what was that about? Because she's the favorite. She's Elena. So then in the library, Lynn and Ben are studying, and Lynn is talking about all the hot chicks that are in New York City. But Ben asks him if he likes being with Nicole. He says, of course, that's my heart, my wisdom. But Nicole walks in then and sits down. She's working on some paper about Nietzsche and asks Ben if he knows anything about Nietzsche. He's like, what, God is dead or something? And yeah, but he's, just trying to be nice in front of Lynn. And so then Lynn gets up to get some candy.
Because he asks, do you have any candy? She's like, I have gum. He's like, gum is not candy. We've had this discussion. I'm just wondering how many times they've had the discussion and how long that discussion is. So funny.
I mean, he's kind of right. I don't feel like gum is candy.
It was just funny the way he said it, though. He was so committed to it.
We've talked about this.
This is the hill he's going to die on.
Poor Lynn. So Lynn gets up for his candy and Ben is uncomfortable, left alone with Nicole. She continues to smile at him and asks him if she's making him uncomfortable. He just says no, I'm just reading. And she says she knows that the kiss was sudden. Ben says, yeah, look, it happens. Let's just forget about it because it was nothing. But Nicole says that every time she looks at him, she wants to kiss him. Ben says, are you trying to make me uncomfortable? Is that what you're trying to do? But she says, no, just the opposite.
Ew.
Wow, she's really good at that.
But again, no boundaries. He's said again, it was nothing, and she's still pursuing.
Yeah, back off.
So then Ben, Julie, and Felicity go to meet the guy with the car for the road trip. He's very protective of his baby, but they assure him that they're all very responsible. They've never gotten a ticket. But Julie jokes that she almost got a ticket once, but she cried her way out of it. And she laughs a little bit. And Felicity and Ben and the owner awkwardly look at her, but then move on. No big deal. The owner says that they have 3 weeks to take their time with his baby so they don't have to go speeding across the country. So he gives them the keys and they check out the stereo inside. And Julie does apologize about the ticket comment, but Ben seems annoyed. He said, yeah, what was that all about? She just said she must have been nervous or something, but he still looked annoyed. And then Felicity says they should get a book about all the places to stop at. And Julie says she wants to go to Graceland. But Ben kind of snaps at her. He says, no, we're not going to Graceland. Everybody goes to Graceland. And Julie says, fine, God, it was just a suggestion. And the owner comes back, asks for their driver's license numbers. And again, now Felicity forgets her driver's license number. So now forgetfulness. But I don't know. For me, the Ben being annoyed at Julie thing kind of came out of nowhere from last week.
This was the first little
instance.
instance.
Yeah, compared to last week.
They're trying to lay the groundwork right now for, there might be trouble there. But it's really random. It's not viable. So it's what? Why? He's usually very kind and sweet with her. I don't know.
Yeah, unless they're trying to frame it maybe he is interested in Nicole and he's trying to pick fights and have a reason to break up.
Yeah.
I'm sick of this bitch. I gotta get some new stuff.
But yeah, it didn't seem like it because he could have just kept kissing Nicole. He has Nicole. He could have her if he wanted her.
Well, maybe he wants to break up with Julie first, be a little bit honorable about it. But he has to create some conflict, potentially. I'm just, from the writer's perspective, maybe they were trying to put us on that trail.
Yeah. Or he doesn't want to admit to her the Nicole thing because it'll just hurt her. So he's, just trying to get her to break up with him or just distance himself, maybe. That makes sense.
Yeah.
And now we go to the movie theater where Guy is camping out, and there's a ton of Star Wars fans that are reenacting like Leia and R2-D2 and the Help Me Obi-Wan Kenobi, You're My Only Hope with a garbage can. It's really funny. There's lightsabers everywhere. Everyone's in costume. And I just think like at the time, there was no other reference, but I just love that now we know that JJ goes on to direct Star Wars. Like I think that is so cool. And I wonder if you had told 1999 JJ Abrams that he would direct a future Star Wars, like would he have believed that? It's just, it's so crazy, his journey. And I love that Kerry Russell would also be in Star Wars as well. I think it was in the last one, episode 9. Because like JJ brings his people with him wherever he goes. So I just love that there's a connection now to Star Wars.
And beloved Sean was there too, Greg Grunberg. So he brings him on.
He was in Star Wars?
Yeah.
Because I was looking up because I couldn't remember that Kerry Russell was in it. And I was like, I got to see this because I need confirmation for everything.
Well, she was covered the whole time.
Yeah. You never see her face.
Well, that'll do it. And I was scrolling and he was a couple people down the list on IMDb. And I was like, oh, he must have been, maybe he was in some kind of costume too that made him unrecognizable.
I think you could see him. He was just like I think he was just like a worker on one of the rebel bases or something. It wasn't, Yeah,
I don't remember. It's been a long time.
But yeah, I just love that now there's another Star Wars connection to Felicity. So Noel is trying to work on their project, but Guy is doing like Star Wars trivia with some other people. But eventually, when they do start working on stuff, Noel tells Guy that he doesn't think he's going to Berlin anymore, that he got the dates wrong, and it actually starts 2 weeks earlier than he thought. So now he doesn't know what to tell Felicity or what to do about Felicity. And Guy is pretty incredulous. He's like, wait a minute, you're going to go on a road trip with your girlfriend instead of go to the most prestigious internship in computer graphics. So apparently this is like a huge, huge deal.
Of course it is.
And we've got an Obi-Wan Kenobi sitting next to them. And it's a little awkward because he's like listening in on their conversation. But Noel says he's actually not sure if Felicity is his girlfriend. Like in the status of their relationship, they're still figuring things out. So then Guy was like, oh, so you think if you to go on this trip, she's going to hook up with some other dude. And Noel says, no, I think that summer is just the perfect time to solidify the relationship. But Guy says, dude, this is a no-brainer. Take the internship.
Yeah, I can't believe that he would even entertain the idea of not doing that if it is such a special internship. But I will say he was much more calm in this scene than he usually is when he's getting kind of worked up and this excessive insecurity is blowing up like he has in the past. He was much different in this scene where he was just trying to calmly talk it through, and Guy was giving him some really good feedback and some insights, and I thought that went very well. And that was a nice Noel moment.
Growth. Yay.
Yes, growth, exactly.
I do think, though, like, his thought to not go on the internship was stemming from insecurity. But you're right. Like, he didn't blow it out of proportion. Yeah.
It wasn't emoting. It wasn't exploding out of him this time.
And probably doesn't help that Ben is going on the trip, too. So then the next tarot card we get is the Empress, and they say tempted. So the Empress could also mean femininity, beauty, nature, nurturing, and abundance. The Empress shows us how deeply we are embedded to our femininity. Femininity is a hard word to say multiple times in a row. But femininity could be associated with fertility, expression, creativity, and nurturing, among many other aspects. It therefore calls you to connect with beauty and bring happiness to your life. Understand yourself and get in touch with your sensuality so that you can attract life circumstances to bring happiness and joy. She is a signal that to be kind to yourself, to take care of yourself. So I thought that was a little softer of a definition rather than tempted, but I guess femininity and beauty can be quite tempting. So we get to a big scene here. Ben is studying at the loft and the doorbell rings, and of course, it's fucking Nicole again. That's just her name. It's fucking Nicole. So he tries to buzz her and he says that Lynn's not here, but she just wants to talk to Ben. He does seem agitated, but he buzzes her in. And Nicole comes up and says that she saw Julie in the library and she said that Ben was at home. Ben did not seem pleased that she had talked to Julie, but Nicole just said that she wanted to bring him some hot chocolate. So,
I was hoping you'd say it like that.
I can do it a few more times.
Oh my God. Also, isn't it like May? Like, why is she bringing him hot chocolate in May? I'm pretty sure it's hot out already. Choose something else, lady.
Because she's got a plan.
I know it's not about the hot chocolate, but at least make it
She wants things to get hot and steamy.
Make it a little more believable. Like, oh, I got some beer or something. I don't know.
It could be like, I brought you milkshakes. You know, could be something else. Yeah.
Or a smoothie.
Green juice. But yeah, Nicole just invites herself in. Ben's not like, oh, okay, come on in. She just kind of pushes her, she just walks in. And then Ben kind of hits his head against the door frame because he knows he's in a little predicament here. So she takes off her coat and asks when his econ final is. And he just kind of laughs because, again, this is awkward. And she's like pretending to talk about the econ final. Like, this doesn't make sense. But Ben then says that he thinks she should take the hot chocolate to Lynn. But Nicole says Lynn doesn't like hot chocolate. And she says, I love Lynn. He's a great guy. But lately, we just haven't been clicking. And Ben says that maybe she should talk to him about that. Great advice. She says, look, it must seem like I'm a nympho, but you're about to go away. I'm not going to see you all summer. And everyone knows the best way to get over a crush is to act on it. And Ben says that she should go. So straight up, like, no dancing around it anymore. He's like, you should go. She still persists, though. She asks if he's just not attracted to her. But he does say, it's not that. Which, again, I wish he didn't say. I wish he'd be like, no, I'm not. Like, we're not going to be together. I'm not into you. That's it. But he's like, oh, it's not that I'm not attracted to you, you know. But he did ask her to leave, so she should have stopped it there. But she asks, what is it, Ben? As she starts unzipping her dress. She did not come to mess around. She even came in the little trench coat, and now she's got a zip-off dress and asks him, do you want me to stop? He takes a second too long for me, but he does say, yeah, I want you to stop. And she says, okay, but she does not. And she unzips the whole thing, no bra. She's like fully naked except for some panties, it looks like, in front of him. And again, he kind of like awkwardly laughs, but he's also like not really looking at her. Like he's looking down and kind of like, oh God, what do I do? She starts to get closer to him. And thank God, Sean, his intrusive self, walks in and she quickly grabs stuff, covers herself. And no one kind of says or does anything. It's super awkward. Sean just nods and says, hello. And leaves. And
Real smooth.
I'll just say it's the only time that Sean's interruption was probably welcome for Ben.
So, wow, big boundary issues here.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to add the reverse of the Empress card addresses this a little bit. Not necessarily the first line, but it says, you may have lost strength over placing too much effort into the affairs of others. Perhaps you're smothering someone with too much affection. And it goes on to say some more other stuff. But I think that's really interesting that that was the reverse of the card for this segment. Very clever. They really did such a good job.
They should have flipped that card upside down.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Hella boundary issues. And we've talked a lot about that on this show, and everything she did was wrong here. It was just bad.
Yeah.
It was lots of bad.
And I'm wondering if that pause from him, like the taking a beat too long, was because he couldn't believe that somebody would fully just completely undress in front of him. Maybe he didn't really think that she was going to go all the way like that. So he didn't maybe feel like, no, like, don't do that. Like, maybe he didn't feel the urgency because that's such a wild thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he was probably in shock. I mean, I think
very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And I think part of it, maybe he didn't want to hurt her feelings and be like, get out of here, fugly. Like, no, you're not attractive. Get the hell out. I think it's just very uncomfortable and awkward. And I don't think he does very well with confrontation and communication, right? So I'm not surprised that he bumbled his way through this. I mean, he did the best he could. And obviously it could have been better, but I think he just doesn't have a lot of experience with conflict and trying to talk about things. He seems to fight more often when things are a problem, and he wasn't going to slap her or anything. So he laughs uncomfortably and it's just like, nah, poor Ben.
Right. The next scene setup, we have tarot card the Moon, which they say danger. But it could also mean illusion, fear, anxiety, subconscious, and intuition. The moon represents your fears and illusions and often comes out when you are projecting fear into your present and your future based on your past experiences, which I think a lot of us and these characters tend to do. The moon can indicate a time of uncertainty and illusion when nothing is what it seems. Be careful of making fast decisions when the moon appears because you may later realize you only had half the information you needed. You need to listen to and trust your intuition so you can see beyond what is in front of you. Feel into situations rather than thinking what they mean. Let go of your conscious mental blocks or negative self-talk and allow your intuition to guide you. Your dreams, intuitions, and inner guidance lead you forward toward higher levels of understanding if you listen and use your judgment to help interpret the messages of the subconscious. So they mentioned that there's danger, but I think it could also just be like the unknown and having to feel your way through with your intuition here.
Yeah, Mike Hurd kind of talks about, it says like risk, caution, and confusion. So those kinds of elements, danger's a bigger word for all those things, I guess, if we put all that together.
We go to Felicity's room and Meghan's working her magic yet again. This time she has a picture. Felicity says that it's the only one she has of her, Noel, Ben, Julie, and Elena all together. And Meghan's ripping it up. She says, well, they're not dead. You can get another one. And Felicity freaks out. I can't believe you. And Meghan says, well, this spell is going to be so kick-ass. Felicity doesn't want to know, though. And Meghan says, I won't have to tell you. You'll know. You'll know what it's about. And then she drops the ripped up pieces of the photo into a beaker or glass filled with water and stirs it all up. So she is literally stirring the pot this episode, and I love it.
That's pretty funny. And how 90s is it to even have a physical picture that one could rip up and dump in a jar? It's like everything's digital now, so I don't know how many people would have pictures up in dorms now. I don't know. Maybe that's a thing. I have to
They probably
look
get
into
like
that.
a retro. Everyone's getting like retro digital
that's
cameras
true.
now.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
yeah. Yeah, doing like the whole Polaroid and all that.
Yeah.
Cute.
So at Dean and DeLuca, Ben and Felicity are working, and Ben rushes past Felicity and tells her, just say I'm not working, and he rushes to the back. Felicity doesn't know what's going on, but then she sees Nicole come in and asks for Ben, but Felicity follows his instructions, says he's not working, and after Nicole leaves, I think this is Ben's funniest moment of the episode. He like peeks out of the, I don't know what you call it, like the porthole?
Yeah.
I don't know. That like swinging door to the back, and he's just kind of like looking out the window. Felicity asks, what was that? He says, nothing. And I just thought that expression was hilarious. Nothing. And so he pops back out and says that Nicole's been sending him signals that she likes him. Felicity asks, what kind of signals? And he said, well, she kissed me. That was one signal. And she came over last night, took off her clothes. That was signal number 2. Again, that was so funny.
That's laughing so hard at that. His line delivery is so perfect. It's so funny. He's saying it so casually, like it wasn't a big deal that she got naked in front of him.
And also like, yeah, I think those are more than signals. Those
Yeah.
are actions.
Yeah, those are boundary violations.
But he says, don't worry, nothing happened. And he just goes back to work. But Felicity's appalled and asks if he told Julie about it, which he didn't. Felicity then thinks she's reading Ben's mind. She thinks that maybe that's Meghan's latest spell, is that she can now read people's minds. And she's thinking that Ben is thinking that he's having second thoughts about Julie. And Ben says that it's not that he likes Nicole, it's just that things are serious and like they've gotten so heavy with Julie. But Felicity says, well, now it's summer, so you can just have fun together. Like, you both are perfect for each other. And so Ben's like, yeah, okay, but not very convincing. And then she turns back around and says, and if you break up with Julie because Nicole did a striptease, I'll kill you. And that too, her delivery, like the way she said striptease was hilarious. And Ben laughs and says he isn't. He's not going to break up with Julie because of Nicole.
But if he was interested in somebody, he should break up with whoever he's seeing. It's not fair to put that on him, like, don't break up because of this. But if he really was that tempted and he really was interested in pursuing that, even though that would be horrible against Lynn, you can't make somebody keep dating somebody if they are not into them. I think that's kind of unfair. I get it when people are like, oh, if you hurt her, I'll kill you kind of thing. But it's like, really, we shouldn't lean into that so much. We should be like, yes, break up if you're not into them anymore. That's not healthy to just do it just because you don't want to hurt their feelings.
Yeah,
That's disingenuous.
that's fair. So then back at the movie theater, Noel checks in on Guy, the progress on their project. And Guy says that he and Obi-Wan have figured out what to do between Noel and Felicity. And Obi-Wan says, little friend, your true frustration is not about the program, it's about the thing. And Guy says that this situation is just like when Luke has to decide whether or not to go to Alderaan. And he turns to Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan says, you must do what you feel is right. That's what Obi-Wan says to Luke in that scenario. And so that is what Noel must do with Felicity now. And now every time I watch Star Wars, I think of Felicity when he says that quote, because I picture this scene now. So now we move on to the next scene with the tarot card, the High Priestess, which means secrets. It could also mean, again, intuition, sacred knowledge, divine feminine, the subconscious mind. The High Priestess is the guardian of the subconscious mind and the teacher of sacred knowledge and hidden mysteries. Sitting at the threshold of the conscious and subconscious mind, the High Priestess has an innate ability to travel between these realms effortlessly. She teaches you that the world is not always as it seems, and more profound influences are often at play. She ushers you through the thin veil of awareness, offering you a deep intuitive understanding of the universe and a heightened awareness of secret or hidden information. So again, secrets. Her appearance in a reading can signify that it is time for you to listen to your intuition rather than prioritizing your intellect and conscious mind.
Okay, so my card was a little bit different, but I did find the title card and the tarot card to be interesting. So my High Priestess says intuition, unconscious, inner voice, and mystery, but the reverse says withheld information, secrets, repressed feelings. And I think that's come up a couple times where some of these reverses on the cards seem like they're hitting on a different level than the surface level of what we're seeing in the episode. So I thought that was interesting to pair that. Maybe it was the upright and reverse at the same time in this section.
Yeah, I mean, these things sounds like these all have double meanings, right? Or like when it's presented, it's like you should do this versus you're not doing enough of this or something like that. Yeah.
They're two sides of the same coin. They're just, yeah, it's interesting.
And so, of course, we know there's a lot of secrets going on right now. So at the loft, Lynn and Ben are studying, and Lynn asks Ben if everything is copacetic. Ben's like, no, I'm good, just studying. Lynn says that he has tons on his mind, though. He's thinking about Nicole. Ben's like, oh, you broke up or something. But no, Lynn and Nicole are going to the Bahamas over the summer.
That's a serious trip for
Yeah.
like 18-year-olds. What the hell? Who's paying for that?
Right?
Well, I think we've discovered that most of the people at the school are rich or are assumed rich. Like Elena thought everyone was rich. Noel was like, oh, you thought I was rich, right? So
I don't know, man. That seems like a really big trip to take. That's so weird. Good for them, though, I guess.
Maybe Lynn got a lot of money gambling with Barry. Like he was doing well while Ben was doing bad.
There you go. Okay, that all makes sense now.
Got a big win on a basketball game. And Ben was shocked, of course. Like, Bahamas, wow, sounds great. So, yeah, that really pisses Ben off now because Lynn is spending money and more time on Nicole. So Ben goes to talk to Nicole, and he finally puts his foot down, like, super firm. No, like, yeah, I think you're pretty, well, I guess he does. He says, I do think you're beautiful and sexy. But he's like, look, like, I'm having a tough time being around Lynn, who's his good friend, because Lynn's girlfriend isn't just looking around, she's looking to do something about it, which puts him in a tough position. And so basically, if she doesn't stop coming on to him, he's going to tell Lynn. So she finally looks like guilty or remorseful and says, sure. And I don't know, Melissa, what your moment is, but I was like, that is a hot Ben moment if I've ever seen one. That was hot. Finally putting his foot down, being like, stop it, or I'll tell Lynn.
Finally, yeah. That was pretty hot.
Very noble of him. That's very attractive.
Yeah. But then we go to the next scene. And Ben is studying with Julie. She's highlighting the travel book, all excited about where they're going to go. But Ben looks distressed. He says he's been thinking of some things. Do you ever think we're too serious? She says, why? Do you? He says, yeah, sometimes. He's like, oh, what am I trying to say? We're like 18 years old, and sometimes it feels like we're older. So Julie does start freaking out. She's like, did I do something? He said, it's not about you. But Julie says, you're doing the guy thing where you act confused, but you know exactly what you're thinking. And that's my angsty away message of the week, because I probably would have felt the same in high school or college about most guys. They're all like, I'm all confused, but they most of the time know exactly what they want. So then Julie says, if you mean that we had a hard year and we've been there for each other, then yeah, maybe we're too heavy. She asks him, what, you don't want me to go on the trip? He says, no, I think you should. She says, you think I should or you want me to? Ben says, I want you to. But Julie gets up and says that, yeah, maybe taking a break is a good idea. He said, hey, I never said anything about breaking up. But she says, yeah, it's tricky not using those exact words. So then she hands him the travel book and tells him, you'll need this. I'm not going.
Okay, so I'm curious. Do you think he really did want to break up and just didn't want to say it? Or was she just having some raging, intense insecurity in that moment that made her jump to that conclusion? Or is she insecure or is she just perceptive?
I don't know if he wanted to like completely break up, but maybe he just wanted to like
Uh-huh.
slow things down and, you know, like you said, like we're so serious, blah, blah. Maybe he just wanted to make sure that they weren't on this super serious path. I don't know. What do you think, Heather?
I think like maybe he wanted to have a conversation and she just
Mm-hmm.
kind of like jumped a few steps ahead to the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like she probably was just trying to like read into what he was saying and like let's get to the point because you're not sure what you're thinking or saying. She's probably had other experiences and therefore, yeah, it was just like, oh yeah, you're confused. Well, fine, I'm not going anymore. Because I also like, yeah, they things have been heavy, but it did just seem like a 180 where last week, like she went out looking for him all night and was there for her and like, or she was there for him and it seemed like he supported that. And what, like now this summer, does he just want to like go fuck around in California? You know, I don't know. I think it felt like a very quick breakup out of nowhere. He's like thinking things and now they're broken up because yeah, she's upset that he mentioned that stuff. So I think he probably did want to have a conversation at least, but we won't really ever know because she just kind of jumped a couple of steps ahead. But yeah, I think he was not being totally honest, probably. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking he was calmly trying to have a conversation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And because she escalated it very, very quickly. So it just, yeah, like you said, it kind of fast forwards it to the breakup part. And I don't think that was his intention. So yeah, maybe slowing things down like it's too heavy in light of the fact of last week or last episode and how heavy that was with his whole gambling thing and getting beat up and all that went through that and everything else that happened this season. Maybe that was a wake up call. Like, we're like in some really deep stuff here. Like, this is too much for me. And I think he's also not used to close relationships and maybe is doing that self sabotage, push them away before I get hurt kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
If he was trying to break up, I think it would be because of his own fears of, commitment, intimacy, all that stuff. That's scary territory. But for her too, she's in the past, way, way back in the beginning of the season, she told Felicity she waits till and lets the guy break up with her because it's easier that way. So this is a turnaround for her. And that's interesting for her to just like kind of snap. But I think if she would have been a little bit more calm, they could have had a conversation. And maybe they decided she doesn't go on the trip, but like they're still dating, but like maybe not have this intense, like we're together 24/7 for 2 weeks straight kind of thing. I think that's all maybe he was looking for, not like a full on breakup.
I guess I just wonder, things are very serious. Like, how do you take steps back to not be like, okay, we're going to be together, but we can't tell each other about the serious things going on in each other's lives? Like, how do you take steps back from that place? Maybe she's just like, I don't like, how do you take, unless you're a break, like, we're not seeing each other. I don't know. It's just kind of, to me, it seems weird. Like, how do you become unserious when you're already serious?
That physical space of her not going on the trip, that's what I would have done if I was in his head kind of thinking like this is too heavy. Yeah, maybe that's okay if you don't go on the trip because that's like really, really a big commitment to be around each other and not have anywhere else to escape to. Like you're going to be in a car for many, many, many hours and there's nowhere to go. And that could be really awkward if it got awkward. I think maybe he just wanted some actual physical distance to just be like, let's just have a breather, but not do a road trip together right now.
Also, it seemed like she's always there, like at his loft, like practically living there, sleeping there, which maybe I would want some space too. Like, you have your dorm. Why do you have to be here all the time?
Yeah, that's fair. I just think it's weird because like they're about to be apart the whole summer, so he is gonna get that distance anyway. But I could see where she would, yeah, just be like, never mind, forget it. I'm too much for you. I don't know. She's got her own insecurities too. But yeah, I don't know if he was like looking to break up in that moment. Probably wanted a conversation, but maybe she was just like, why stretch this out? Let's just get to the point. So I could kind of see both of their sides in it. So then the next tarot card we have is Queen of Swords, which they say is loss. However, when I researched, it showed that it could also mean independent, unbiased judgment, clear boundaries, which we haven't had much of, and direct communication. Again, not something that's normal on this show. This card represents the importance of making judgments without relying on emotion alone. The Queen of Swords beckons you to look at all the facts before making a decision. This queen does have compassion, but she wants to connect to people using an understanding that is intellectual. Above all, truth is important to her, so she feels no need to soften her comments, thoughts, or opinions. She also expects the same frankness from other people, so this means that you need to be clear with everything that is being said, even if it may hurt.
Interesting. So, yeah, it's a head versus heart kind of thing, because the reverse is very much leaning into the heart side, and the upright is more the logic, like what we talked about before, rational mind and emotion mind. So it's nice when they can overlap and we can come to wise mind, but it seems like one's going to be a little bit more lopsided than the other in terms of the card, the way the card's presenting this.
Yeah, and I was just wondering where they got the loss part of it from. Maybe it's like once you make a decision, there can be loss. I don't know.
Well, you're going to lose one thing if you choose the
Yeah.
other kind of thing. I think it was from one of my favorite shows, Dark. He said, every choice you make for one thing is a choice against another, something like that. So I think you're going to have a loss component because you're choosing one thing over another. But I don't think the title cards were meant to necessarily reflect the tarot card completely. It was just the relation of the theme, just adjacent to the tarot card.
Yeah. And yeah, maybe Ben was just making a judgment call with Julie, you know, what we just wrapped up on, and he was struggling with the decision. He did seem this whole episode really conflicted about what to do and what he was feeling. Yeah. So then we see that Julie is crying to Felicity. She tells her that she just walked out on Ben, but Felicity just asks Julie, like, well, what did he say? And Julie tells her, but Felicity says, like, oh, I'm sure he doesn't need a break from you, but probably just a break from everything. It's been a crazy year for all of us. And she tells Julie that they'll work out, it'll be okay. And a very small comment here, but Julie then kind of whispers to her, it's pretty ironic, isn't it? Now he's broken both of our hearts. And I just thought that was wild.
That was so fucked up.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, he broke Felicity's heart because he liked
because
you
of
and not with
you.
you.
Yeah.
It's like, do you not understand? Yeah, the irony. Talk about ironic, Dumbo. Like, seriously?
Mhm. Yeah, that was dumb to say.
This whole show exists because Felicity followed him there. Oh my gosh. And then he picked Julie. But I think it's like he broke both our hearts. It's like, bitch, you broke up with him. Like, you went through the roof with your insecurity and your emotional response and walked out on him. But he broke both of your hearts. That's kind of weird. That's a stretch, Julie.
It's like she's trying to connect with Felicity, but that was not the right way to do it.
Yeah.
It could have been like, oh, we both had our hearts broken recently, like by Noel and Bet, you know, like, oh, we're both single again. How did that, you know, but like that was not the thing to connect on.
No.
That was, it was definitely like kind of nasty tone too. It was not like we're bonding over this. It was just like, it was awkward. I didn't like it.
And then we see Elena going to McGrath's office with a very stern hi. She says that she doesn't think them seeing each other outside of class is going to work because she just got freaking embarrassed in front of the whole class. But McGrath gets up and says that he was overcompensating. He guesses he didn't want anyone to notice that he enjoys her company, and that's why he barked at her in class. He tells her that he had one other relationship with a student a long time ago, and it was under different circumstances. So he says that he's just rusty and intimidated. And Elena says that she's the one who's intimidated. But McGrath says maybe that's their problem, that they scare each other. But Elena says maybe that's not a problem. And as it fades to black, they kiss.
Yeah, gross.
Barf.
Wow, classy dude.
He admitted this has happened before, and that wasn't a red flag to her? What in the world?
He's like, here's my red flags. She just kept going.
I'm waving them right in front of your face. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I mean, we laugh, but it was so uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's really like turning things around on her. Like, oh, I'm intimidated by you, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, he's good at that.
And I was overcompensating. It's like, oh my gosh, are you fucking kidding me?
Because again, she's so mature, right? Oof.
Exactly. But that's part of the grooming or the gaslighting too. It's like raising her up, breaking her back down, raising her up. Like, oh, I'm going to humiliate you in class. But then I'm going to be like, I'm so intimidated by you.
I only did it because
just keeping her really
you.
Unsteady, like really uncertain, really confused.
Yeah.
That's gross.
Yeah, he's got her on a roller coaster for sure.
I'll twist it around, yeah.
Well, just a quick reminder that Felicity Was Here Pod has a Discord. We've had some very exciting discussion about last week's episode and a lot of this grooming stuff and thinking about when it first came out versus now. So just a reminder, head to Discord. It's totally free. Anyone can create a login and sign up and get connected to the rest of our Porter heads there in Discord.
Or the haters.
Or the haters, whatever you prefer. Then we move on to the tarot card, the Lovers, which of course they say is love. And pretty straightforward: love, harmony, relationships, values, alignment, choices. In its purest form, the Lovers card represents conscious connections and meaningful relationships. The arrival of this card in a tarot reading shows that you have a beautiful, soul-honoring connection with a loved one. You may believe you have found your soulmate or life partner. While the Lovers card typically refers to a romantic tie, it can also represent a close friendship or family relationship where love, respect, and compassion flow. The Lovers is a card of open communication and raw honesty. They are both willing to be in their most vulnerable states and have learned to open their hearts to one another and share their truest feelings. So, at the end of this, remind me to ask the question about the Lovers card, okay? So.
Well, can I do the reverse now?
Yeah, do the reverse.
Okay.
Reverse.
Oh my gosh. Infidelity, separation, disharmony, loss of balance. You may be experiencing conflict or pressure with friends, family, coworkers, or yourself. Perhaps there's a break in communication, an imbalance in a relationship, or you may be avoiding responsibilities. Make amends and let go of the past.
Yeah, I feel like both sides have good meaning in this episode and just the show in general.
Yes.
So then we go to Noel's room, where he asks Felicity if she's seen Star Wars. She has, but Noel explains the Alderaan scene and the quote from Obi-Wan, and she's confused though. Like, she's seen Star Wars, but she doesn't have it memorized. So he tells her that if he goes on the road trip, he can't do the internship anymore. And even though he thought about not going to the internship, if he went so far away, something might happen, but he did realize that he has to go. And Felicity tells him that she's like, you realize you're not going to lose me. And he says, yeah, it's just going to be hard. And the just friends thing is complicating things. She says, because of the kissing. He's like, yeah. She says, so you don't think we should kiss anymore? He says, no, as a question, kind of. He's not sure. He says, but maybe one last time, to purge our system. And she thinks that's a good idea. And so they kiss. I'm surprised Noel didn't change his mind on the spot after that kiss, because it was very sweet and cute.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I thought he would have been like, okay, never mind, I'm going to go on the road trip. But
I'm glad he didn't.
Yeah, no, I know. It is the right move. But then, yeah, she was just kind of like, okay, talk to you later. Leaves after that kiss.
Take her easy.
But I agree with you, Joe. Like, him being like, yeah, I do realize that I'm not going to lose you. Like, that was growth compared to everything else that had
so
happened
much.
this season.
Yeah, that was a good arc for him with the insecurity stuff.
But also sad because, like, now they are just friends. Like, they're not going to kiss anymore. And, I'm Team Noel, so I want it to be more.
But I think that's a cleaner way to proceed if you're going to be
Yes.
out of the country and away for the summer. It's like, okay, we can hit the reset button when we get back to school, perhaps. But
For sure.
yeah, over the summer, it's just like, let it be.
So then back in Felicity's room, Meghan gives Felicity her picture back. She says, sorry, tried to tape it back together, but she lost a few pieces. She's like, but don't worry, the spell didn't work. Felicity asked what it was, and it was a love spell. Meghan said it was gonna be killer, but she forgot the key ingredient, clove. So Meghan's sad because things didn't work out and says that her spells were stupid. But Felicity comes and sits next to Meghan on her bed and launches into a monologue about how, like, oh no, I really think the spells were working. And wouldn't it be amazing if, like, you could change anything in life just from a spell? And Meghan's like, yeah, that would be nice. And then she kind of like realizes, wait, what's going on? Turns to Felicity and says, get off my bed. And Felicity's like, oh, sorry. So, I just love that, like, Meghan turns any sweet, potentially like sweet bonding moment into like, what? Ew, get away from me.
Love it.
Then at Dean and DeLuca, Ben and Felicity are doing their inventory alone late at night on a Friday. They're checking different boxes, and Ben asks if Felicity's mad at him for talking to Julie. And Felicity says no, but you didn't tell her about Nicole. She's like, I think you did that for two reasons. Either you didn't want to upset Julie or you like Nicole. Ben says, I don't like Nicole. I told you. It's just that him and Julie right now, he's just, I don't know. He's like, I just don't want you to be mad at me this whole trip. And Felicity's like, what? I'm not going. Like, you're nuts. And he says, what? Why? She says she just doesn't think it's a good idea. But Ben says, would you just come with me? It'll be fun. He's like, what if I put a ding in the baby? And Felicity kind of laughs. She's up on a ladder looking at a box of something that's super old. Ben asks what it is, and she says it's clove. And then, as she's getting down the ladder, her clumsy ass drops the clove all over the floor. And they're both laughing. They crouch down to clean it up, and their faces are very close together. And he says, "So you will?" She says, "What?" He says, "Come with me." She says, "Do you think I should?" Which is funny. And he whispers, "Yeah." And she says, "Yeah." And they get very close. And then there's a knock at the door. And so Ben gets up and leaves.
When that happened, I was like, it's probably Sean interrupting.
It's a very unwelcome interruption.
Yeah,
this time.
that'd be funny if there was like an unedited scene, like it was Sean, but they cut it.
You guys have to admit that was super hot. The whispering, the close talking, was so
Yes.
sexy. Oh my God, that was the
Yes.
hottest Ben moment for sure.
That was that juice I was talking about.
Oh, the whispers.
It was very cute. And yeah, if I had a crush on a guy, I would love to be knee deep in some
Oh,
clove
yeah.
in the back room for sure.
That does it every time. Yeah. No, it wasn't cute. It was hot. It was crazy hot.
Sorry.
I need some
it
ice
was hot,
water.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. It wasn't a teddy bear. It was flames.
Yes. Fine. It was steamy.
Yes.
But I do think it's interesting. I guess I want to hear where you all stand. Is this because of Meghan's spell? Or has this been brewing with Ben for a while now? Is this why he broke up with Julie? Does he have feelings for Felicity?
Well, Julie broke up with him, so no.
Okay.
And
Did he okay, is this the reason why he questioned his relationship with Julie?
I don't know, because all that was going on before they were knee deep in cloves. So I think it's a really clever callback to what Meghan just said. Oh, I was missing that special ingredient, clove, and I think it's very cute and clever. But I don't know. It is a little bit unearned, as maybe you would say, kind of out of left field, a little unexpected. But maybe there have been little nuggets here and there along the way, just this little undercurrent of interest, or how he's always gone to her when he's had that problem in the middle of the night. He'll go to her. There's a bond that they've had that's been growing this whole season. But yeah, this is a little bit different, obviously.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we've definitely seen their friendship blossom over the season, and they're super comfortable around each other. But I just don't really like this cop out of, oh, there's a magical spell, so now all of a sudden he's thinking about her in that way, when we really haven't seen him think of her in that way really at all. I guess there's been like tiny little nuggets, like the documentary where they bring up Eli and they're like, oh, there's a new person in town, and he hesitates for a moment. Like little things like that, but it's really not enough to bring us to this point, and I'll have more to say in the next episode about it, but I don't love that it's happening in this way.
I just
Blame it on the clove.
No, I just thought of something else though. Another like old callback. Teen Witch. Remember, there's the popularity spell and all this stuff happened, right? But then at the end, she throws away the amulet and they're still together.
Oh,
So I'm like,
yeah.
maybe it was just about like building some
Yeah.
confidence or something. Maybe there's some genuine stuff underneath, and it seems like it's the magic at first, but like it's really true and
Yeah.
deep. I don't know.
Yeah.
That made me think of that because I love that movie.
Let's do a podcast about Teen Witch.
Or maybe now that both of them are single,
Single and ready to mingle.
he's just like letting himself explore that, maybe. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he clearly wants her to come on this trip. So maybe he's thinking twice now. I don't know. So then last question, the lovers. Do you think the card was talking about Felicity and Noel or Felicity and Ben?
Maybe both. Does it have to be one or the other?
Could be both. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought it was interesting that was the setup for these last couple of scenes where she's with Noel and then also Ben. So I was like, which one are they talking about?
All of these cards are the same side of the two coins type of thing. And I think it can apply to a lot of the relationships, not just one particular couple.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Lovers is about showing their truest feelings. So I really do think it's about Felicity and Ben in this case, because it's kind of like uncovering the hidden true feelings beneath. So we already know that Felicity and Noel love each other and all that. We just don't know yet about Ben and Felicity. So I think it's implying it's those two.
So then Felicity tells Sally that the whole walk home, all she could think about was how Ben and her would be driving across the country together alone for 2 weeks. And wondering how Noel and Julie will react. So she looked at the photo, but Meghan taped it back wrong. She used to be standing next to Noel, but now, I don't know. You don't believe in magic, do you? And we fade out on the photo, taped back together, and Felicity is now standing next to Ben. Dun dun dun.
I loved it. I love that. I love that last shot. That was great.
And it's just like
Very clever stuff.
the perfect setup as like the penultimate episode. Perfect setup for the finale. Like, how are Noel and Julie gonna react? Now Felicity's next to Bet. Like, what's gonna happen? It was such a clever ending.
Very good stuff.
When you guys first watched this way back then, were you surprised when it got to this episode and saw that they were like leading towards this for the finale, or were you expecting it?
I think it definitely set up, like, it was an almost kiss. So I think you could tell something just at the end here was brewing. I think had that last scene not been in, I don't know that I would have thought that Felicity and Ben would maybe get together or there would be anything happening. But because of that last scene, there was tension and a maybe kiss that I was like, wait. And her and Noel decided to literally just be friends without the kissing now. So, yeah, but I don't think I ever would have back then predicted that like Ben would actually like her because he was so adamant throughout the season that he wasn't into her.
Yeah.
I'm kind of a hopeless romantic, so I was like, I'm ready for this. I'm always ready.
Well, I was excited about it too. I just remember, like, I don't think that before this episode thought that anything was going to happen that season. Like, it didn't. Yeah, it was a surprise.
I was just ready to get swept away with it all.
I'm a hopeless romantic, but about her and Noel. So
yeah.
All right.
Well, we are definitely ready for the finale next week. I'm so excited. This week, our hay counter was 9. Seems to be kind of an average number. There was probably so much they had to jam pack into this episode. There wasn't enough time for all the hays and the long pauses in hays. So I think that wraps it up for the Force. We talked about a lot of stuff. But if anyone wants to stick around a little bit further after this discussion, Dr. Joe's going to do a little tarot reading for me, which should be fun.
Dr. Joe's going to try to do one.
Try and do a tarot reading for me, Heather. So if you're not interested in that, you can go ahead and sign off now, and we will see you next week. But anyone else who wants to get a little mystical for the Force here, just, keep on standing by. We'll talk to everyone else next week. Bye.
Bye.
All right, so Dr. Joe is going to do a tarot reading in honor of the Force. Thanks for everyone who decided to stay and listen to this nonsense, but we thought we'd get a little mystical for this episode.
A very amateur reading, okay? Nobody come after me. Don't curse me if I do it wrong.
It's all good. I'm an amateur. This is an amateur podcast, so we're going to have amateur tarot reading.
Oh, that's true. Excellent point.
Oh, and do you want to give a shout out to your deck?
So this deck comes from Raven and Rogue, and it's super cool because it was made with neurodivergent people in mind, and it was created by a woman after she had a stroke as part of her rehabilitation. So I was really excited about that. That means a lot to me, and that's why I picked them. Also, TikTok got me. It wasn't even them doing the advertising. It was just some guy he kept on saying tarot tip, and then he would instruct on how to read tarot cards. And he was featuring this deck, and I was like, what's that about? And then I'm a sucker. I'll buy anything, so I bought it.
Hashtag saw it on TikTok.
That's right. That's right.
Well, and what's unique about that deck, because Joe sent me the link, is that there's actually no imagery on it. So it's literally just the descriptors of, when it's faced upright versus the reverse, and it tells you what it all means. So it's like really cool if you're trying to learn about tarot and what each card means. Yeah.
Right, there's the neurodivergent part, so you don't have to memorize every single thing about every single card. So most of the cards, they have a description of what the picture's supposed to be, and then they have the little blurb about the meaning.
And to anyone who is like an expert or regularly does tarot, if we like butchered anything in this episode, apologies. Again, come to the Discord, chat about it. Give us feedback, let us know. Yeah, teach us, let us know what this stuff really means. If we got it wrong, we're totally open to hearing from you.
Right. Okay, so shall we jump in?
Let's do it.
We're going to do the spirit guide spread.
Nice.
Do you have to come with this? I believe you have to come with this to like some sort of intention, like something on your mind or something, like with the intention you're approaching this with. I feel like that's
Oh.
the thing with tarot. A lot of things about intention with your intention.
My intention, I guess, yeah, was just to have an open mind and see what tarot has to tell me.
Just very open, just like what's going on.
What's it all
Okay.
about? Yeah.
What does the universe want you to know?
Exactly. Yeah, you tell me,
Okay.
universe. You tell me.
Okay. All right, let's go from there then. Okay, so let's pick the first card, and we're doing this in a really, organized way that's not at all janky, because we're doing it virtually.
Totally on the up and up.
Well, we're improvising. What do you want your first card to be?
Oh, how many cards am I picking?
So it's gonna be 8 altogether.
Okay. I'll pick the top card or on the left, I guess. That's the top.
The first card on the left.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I can't even pick it up. Okay.
And then the last card on the right.
All right, looking good.
And then pick one in the middle, like the direct middle if you can find it, like the most middle that looks middle-ish.
Okay. The intuition's gonna work. Because I've ordered gemstones online and they're just like, we're gonna intuitively pick it for you, so don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You didn't pick it in person. Like this is the right card for you. I just know it.
I feel like I've seen those TikTok videos, those lives on TikTok as well. The people
Yeah.
are like scooping crystals and stuff. Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
I know that you will pick the right card for me.
Yeah. And for your fourth card.
Second from the left,
All right.
and then fifth from the left. Like
2,
fifth of what's
3.
left.
God, that's a
This has to be super interesting to listen to.
yeah. I'm gonna put some spooky music in the background.
Audio only tarot. Yeah, we're gonna have to find some mystical music.
Yeah, mystical, right?
We could just play Taylor Swift like Evermore album. I feel like sounds very witchy.
Yeah, that's not gonna get us copyright blocks.
I know. Yeah, no, we won't get banned from Spotify or Apple at all. Or YouTube.
Just completely shut down.
All right, how many cards left?
3 more.
Okay. Now the last card on the right again.
Making this easy to find.
And
then-
the second from last on the right. And that's it? Or one more?
Yes. No, we good. I think we're good. The hope is that we're good.
I think we're good.
I'm gonna flip this card over. So the first card is the current situation, question, issue, or problem. So the card is 7 of Pentacles, and the keywords here are perseverance, diligence, investment, hard work. That totally sounds like you already. Like, sincerely. The 7 of Pentacles presents as a person leaning against a hoe, gazing across their lush field. Their hard work has paid off, and now they can enjoy the fruits of their labor. So that's what the image would be if the card had an image. You understand the value of hard work and investing toward long-term goals. You're not interested in quick wins. The 7 of Pentacles is telling you to look at the bigger picture. You may be frustrated that some things are taking too long to come to fruition. Your efforts will not go unrewarded, but you must remain patient. Oh my god. I'm already having chills.
Pretty spot on. That is nuts.
Yeah, I know, right?
And so you're saying that's the challenge, or that's like the problem we're discussing now for the rest of the cards?
Well, that's your current situation. It says this is the current thing. Okay, and number 2, this card is your overall motivation or quest for guidance. 10 of Pentacles. Family, wealth, contribution, financial security, legacy. The 10 of Pentacles shows an old person seated in an archway leading into a grand estate. Their 2 dogs are beside them, followed by a couple with a young child. You're blessed with wealth and abundance, feeling financially secure, and trust that because of your success and accomplishments, you will always have what you want and need. The foundation of your future has been paved for sustainability. Feed that compulsion to be charitable or help others. What do you think about that? Then you look like shocked. You're like, what?
Well, shit.
What happened?
Yeah, that's accurate.
Is that why you had that shocked look on your face? 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm reading your whole soul right now.
You are. This is not.
Oh my god, I'm so sweaty. I'm not gonna edit that out. Everybody needs to
See,
know
and
how
you're an
sweaty I get.
amateur, whatever. This is expert level.
No, it's the universe knows what's up.
Yeah.
But it's based on our own tuition because I have heard 2 things. Like, you don't want to like invite too much stuff because, it could go sideways. I don't need any possessions or anything in this house. I don't need any poltergeist. So we're just, this is from our hearts. It's not from so much of the outside coming in. Just gonna be safe here. Okay. Number 3, this card outlines the areas in your life where you may be feeling uneasy or perhaps disillusioned. Uh-oh. About to get real. Okay, Queen of Swords. Perceptive, clear-minded, complexity, independent. The Queen of Swords shows a figure sitting atop a throne decorated with cherubs and butterflies. With a stern face, they hold a double-edged sword in their right hand. The Queen of Swords is telling you to make judgments without emotion. Take inventory of all the facts before making a decision and come to an intellectual conclusion. You want to be compassionate, but you have to think with your head rather than with your heart right now. Be independent. Don't lean too heavily on anyone. Obviously, this came up earlier in the show today, and we were having a discussion about it, and that is wild.
That's wild. Well, it's interesting because I think we were talking offline, off camera, off recording about that one.
Yes,
And
we
that-
were. You had some strong feelings. As usual, our feelings were not aligned.
Fighting about the storylines, of course. Not fighting. Discussing. Yeah, that's interesting.
So, outlines areas in your life where you may be feeling uneasy or perhaps disillusioned. So, I guess this is part of the reason, like the reading. Do you feel like that in any part of your life? Is that ringing true for you right now? Are you having some disillusionment or some area in your life where you're like not quite sure with that?
Yeah, I'd have to think about that. I mean, I think in general, I overanalyze everything. I don't just like make a gut decision or follow my heart or whatever, you know. I don't know that I've noticed it especially recently, but I think that is definitely a trait of mine. I overanalyze and don't just make a decision or go off like follow my heart or follow my gut or anything like that. So that's interesting.
Scarily accurate, this whole thing.
Yeah.
I'm so freaked out. I'm delightedly freaked out.
Episode 21, in which we freak Dr. Joe out.
Okay, 4. This card showcases the events that are having a direct impact on your current situation. I'm wondering if you're supposed to be thinking of something like before I pick it up. I don't know. Well,
Maybe.
we'll see.
But I mean, the number one card you picked was like work, and that rules a lot of my life. So yeah, it makes sense.
That tracks, yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. The Emperor. Leadership, promotion, structure, law and order. Oh my gosh. I can't.
Make it stop.
Hey.
Abort.
The Emperor sits atop a ram-adorned throne on a barren mountain to represent the sterility of regulation. This card signifies powerful influence, leadership, self-discipline, and perseverance through the power of action. You are in control and your hard work has brought you great rewards. You find yourself taking on new responsibilities. Now is a great time to take on projects or hobbies requiring more mental fortitude. What do you make of that?
Oh, I mean, so I think I've mentioned maybe on the podcast before, but I'm a freelancer. I started my own business a couple years ago, so there's always fluctuations in clients and business, and like just in the last couple weeks, there's been like some clients that have wound down, and now I have a couple of new business projects coming in. So and there's always a struggle for me between like how much work is too much. I want to also save my own work-life balance and my own mental health, because that's one of the benefits of working for myself, is being able to choose how much I work. Of course. So I always feel like I'm trying to strike the right balance, and you feel like when that business is coming in, you want to just take it, because who turns down money? But I also want to protect myself and not take on too much. So
Now's a great time.
that's interesting. So to take on new stuff.
Or
and
hobbies.
especially maybe like interesting things. You said what, that mental stimulation or something? What was that last part?
Yes, let's see.
Yeah.
So now's a great time to take on projects or hobbies requiring more mental fortitude.
So maybe it's
So that could be a podcast expansion.
oh man.
All our ideas that we've kicked around. Season 1.5, like the in-between season.
1.5 exactly.
Interesting. Okay, I'm scared what's next. Okay, 5. This card is the advice card regarding what you should do or perhaps what you should avoid doing. So is there something you're struggling? Yeah?
Either one. Do it or don't do it.
Some question you have in mind, like should I, shouldn't I? Maybe one of those work projects. Okay. Knight of Wands. Passion, energy, adventure, impulsiveness, action. Oh boy, this does not sound like you. The Knight of Wands sits atop their horse in full armor, ready for battle with a large wand in their right hand. Their horse is up on their hind legs, seeming prepared for what's ahead. And now is the time to go for it. Be committed to your purpose and vision and do whatever it takes to bring your goals to life, because you know that your potential is limitless. Okay, that sounds good. Your energy is high right now, but be sure that you're thinking before acting so you don't stumble over your own feet. So the adventure, I guess makes sense. The impulsiveness was the one that threw me. I'm like, I don't know. But that makes sense with the context when you read the rest of it.
Yeah. At first when you were saying adventure, I was thinking travel, and like I came back from a big vacation. I'm like, oh, should I go on another one already?
Yeah.
So, but I think it's more just like take the bull by the balls, right? Go for it.
By the balls, I thought it was horns.
It's from Never Been Kissed. I can grab a
Lord.
bull's balls. No?
Can't remember that. The amount of things I can't remember is literally frightening.
I love that movie so much.
Yeah. Okay, so this is kind of tapping into purpose and vision again and do whatever it takes. So I think this could also be career stuff, you know, like if you have this really strong vision for your career or the podcast, for example, or some other hobby.
What are you trying to say? No.
I don't know. I'm not trying to say nothing. The cards are speaking. I'm just the what is it called? Like the
The
messenger?
universe, quote unquote, the universe picked
Yeah.
the cards.
Okay, number 6. This card will indicate the best method for moving forward on your spiritual journey. This may also tell you how to get rid of any underlying worries. Oh boy, you need this.
Does it come with the whole manual?
Yeah, right? You need the whole deck for that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's just one card.
I'm gonna need a detailed plan here.
Okay, the moon. Illusion, unconscious. Risk, intuition, caution.
This was the
confusion.
scary one in the episode. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, okay. That's weird that a couple of them came up. Okay. The moon shows a wolf and a dog standing on either side of a path. These creatures represent the dualities of our wild and civilized sides. 2 towers flank the path, which seems to present 2 possible outcomes. Each side has a consequence. The moon is telling you that things may not be as they seem. Trust your instincts to see past these illusions. You may also be experiencing mood swings, dormant insecurity, or instability. If you're waiting for an answer, then be prepared to wait. Stay waiting. So I like that imagery, the 2 paths. What do you think about that? You said it was scary.
And this was advice.
This goes with the best method for moving forward on your spiritual journey. This may also tell you how to get rid of any underlying worries. So it sounds like it says if you're waiting for an answer, you have to be prepared to wait. So like maybe don't rush into a decision. Like if you're waiting for an answer, just chill a little bit.
Yeah, that's interesting. I also feel like it could just be like no matter what, there's 2 paths. Like maybe there's no wrong choice. Like there's just choices.
That's a much nicer way to look at it than the scary way.
That's how to get some better for my anxiety.
There you go. Well, that's okay. Well, that's the answer. So it says this may also tell you how to get rid of any underlying worries. No matter what choice it is, like there's no right or wrong choice. It's just the choice.
There's
that
2
happened.
paths.
So you don't have to worry about it. I cured your anxiety. You're welcome.
Thank you,
okay.
doctor.
Dr. Joe strikes again. Okay, I'm just a vessel. Okay, 7. This card will tell you how to move on positively to make the best of your current situation. Okay. It has a little note here, but let me just skip that unless it applies. Okay. Oh my gosh, the tower. I swear I really shuffled the hell out
No,
of
I
these.
believe. Well, you didn't know
This
which
is-
ones I was gonna pick.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. It's like they're not like I don't know how this happened. They were on opposite. Oh my gosh, this is weird. Okay. Tell you how to move on positively to make the best of your current situation. The tower. Ruin, disgrace, disaster, catastrophe, destruction. The tower depicts a large structure that has been struck by lightning and consequently set ablaze. People are jumping from the windows to escape the flames. This destruction is necessary for building something new. Massive, groundbreaking change is happening now or very soon. Change this large can often strike fear, but real growth often happens outside of your comfort zone. Even outside of your comfort zone, that sounds like a healthy thing for you to consider.
Yeah, and I think just the whole like out with the old and with the new. I think it's always good to remember that too. Like even if there were where one door closes, a window opens somewhere, right? So I think that's always a good message, especially with work and life, everything.
Okay, this final card is a compilation of everything discussed in the spread and is a follow-up to the advice given in the 5th card.
It's gonna be the lovers. No.
Oh my god, hold on. Oh my gosh. Okay. 2 of Cups. Marriage, romantic love, unity, partnership, connection. I mean, it might as well have been the lovers, right? Okay, the 2 of Cups shows a ceremonial exchange of chalices between 2 people, symbolic of negotiation, trade, protection, and duality. This card is a great representation of relationships, whether platonic or romantic. The upright appearance of the 2 of Cups indicates a strong partnership or connection built on equality and mutual respect. You're receiving positive energy, so be sure to share it with others. And then this relates to the Knight of Wands. This is the time to go for it, be committed to your purpose and vision, and do whatever it takes to bring your goals to life, because you know that your potential is limitless. What do you think? How was your first very amateur janky reading?
I mean, obviously there were a lot of things that
Resonated. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty nuts.
You're really accurate.
I definitely next time should think of like a particular, I guess, situation or problem or something that I'm trying to work through.
Yeah,
'Cause
I
I don't
think
know
that's how it goes.
Yeah, because I don't know that I have something specific, but like just having the first card pulled, I was like, oh yeah, there's always times of change and things happening, and definitely had kind of a rough month personally in May. So I think just, the whole like spring, summer's coming, time for like new things and celebrating new stuff too, and really just going for it now this summer, I think makes sense.
Very
That
nice.
was the last card was like, a lot of this I felt like work, and then the last card was like relationships. So I think it's also just like, you got to focus on those connections that you have to, not take advantage, but rely on your support system to get you through all of it too.
That's a great interpretation.
That's my janky interpretation.
Janky interpretation.
I wish I could return the favor and do it for you, but I don't have a deck.
It's okay. Well, you're actually, what I've heard is you're not supposed to buy your own first deck, so maybe you gotta get a gift.
Oh,
maybe an
but
early
you bought
birthday
that
present
one for yourself, right?
Sometimes it's okay to break the rules.
And of course you would say that.
Well, yeah, I would. I would, and I did. I know, I think there is a loophole.
Well, thank you for the reading. That was super fun.
That was, yeah. Thanks for being a good sport, playing along.
Yeah, and I love that it just went thematically with the show. So thanks for doing that. Cool. Well, everyone, hope you enjoyed. Again, join us over on Discord. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok, whatever other socials you're on. And we will see you again next week for the finale. Yay, bye. Felicity Was Here is produced, written, and edited by Heather, Melissa, and Dr. Joe. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Felicity Was Here Pod. If you're enjoying the pod, please leave us a review and help us spread the word. We appreciate you and would love to hear from Felicity superfans like us. So send us your feedback, ask us your burning questions, or just say hey at felicitywasherepod@gmail.com. We may even read your note in a future episode. Talk to you all next week.